Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are singer Lee Lessack and actor Joe Regalbuto. Award-winning singer Lee Lessack was born and raised in Philadelphia, attended the University of Pennsylvania and the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Besides being a concert artist himself, he established LML Music in 1996, which has a catalog of CDs by top recording artists, and we'll talk about that later in the show. Did you always plan to be a performer?
Always.
Always?
Always.
Were you musical always?
Always. My mom was musical. She sang with the Opera Company of Philadelphia, and I just grew up around it.
Yeah. Oh, she did. Did you like it at the time?
I did. I thought it was magical.
Because sometimes you think like, oh, I didn't like it at the time, but as I got older.
Well, I loved it at the time. I didn't know that I would quite fit into it. You know, it's something I always had a passion for, but I think my voice blossomed quite late.
But you say you're a baritone, right?
Yeah.
So I was wondering why you described yourself. Usually singers, concert singers, don't say what they are, do they? They just say singer. And I thought, well, there's some opera background here. He's calling himself a baritone.
Well, I'm really a lyric baritone.
Oh, so what's that?
It's also known as a lazy tenor.
Oh, you almost get the girl.
Almost.
As the tenor. Not quite. Did you play an instrument?
Well, growing up, I played trumpet. That didn't go so well.
Oh,
and
I see.
I dabble at the piano, but not in public.
But do you compose?
I don't.
You don't. That's what was so interesting, because you're so involved in getting people's work out and being on stage that I thought you probably composed for them too.
I've never written.
Arranging, same thing?
Well, I do some arrangements, some musical arrangements.
What's the difference in doing something like that?
From writing, well, composing would be, sitting and writing the actual music and lyrics, let's say. But what I do, especially in my concerts, is I take either existing songs or a medley of songs, and I try and create a new arrangement.
So you're putting them together, and I see. One thing that you probably do that with is 3 men and a baby. Grand.
Yeah, I like that.
I was like, what is he doing? 3 men and a baby. And then I read further, grand. Tell us about that.
Well, two of my great buddies, Brian Lane Green, he was a big soap opera star for a while, and he was nominated for a Tony Award for Starmites several years ago, and John Boswell, who's a brilliant pianist and arranger and co-produces many of my recordings. We just decided for fun to put a show together and came up with this silly title of 3 Men and a Baby Grand.
I said it right.
You did. And it became really popular. It's just always been fun, and we harmonize really well together, and we have really fun arrangements. And
what do you sing?
Oh my gosh, the Great American Songbook. We do Broadway send-up. Our last concert that we've been touring the country with is a salute to the Rat Pack.
Oh.
And so what we've done is we've taken music by 3 of the greatest performers ever.
Frank Sinatra, probably.
Dean Martin and Sammy Davis.
Oh, the three, of course.
Yeah, and they were all solo performers. Maybe when one was exiting the stage and one was coming on, they'd kibitz a little bit, but really they worked solo. And what we did as a trio was we reinterpreted their famous songs for 3 voices.
Oh, that's
great.
great.
So we don't impersonate. We celebrate.
You celebrate. Where do you do that show?
Well, we opened the show down at Orange County Performing Arts Center.
Big venues.
Yeah. We tour all over the country.
Not 3 tenors.
Right, no.
three men.
I don't think we get the. I don't think we command the salary of the three tenors either. See, if we weren't lazy lyric baritones.
There you are, lyric baritone. But you've done 7 CDs
I
and
have.
one that's coming up soon,
Yes.
Chanteur, which we have
Yes.
here. Tell us what they were.
Well, my first CD was just, collections of songs that I love to sing. They were, I think half of the songs were, standards, Broadway, and the other half were original songs that were written by people that I knew,
Oh, I see.
but not by me.
Contemporaries.
Contemporaries.
I see.
People that I feel are writing the standards of tomorrow,
That's
that are
interesting.
writing in the same vein as Johnny Mercer.
Really?
Rodgers and Hammerstein, yeah.
And they live here?
They
Do they
live
live
here
here?
in New York. I was living in New York at the time, actually.
I see.
So that was my first CD. Then I did, my second CD was called I Know You by Heart. It was all love songs.
Love songs. I can tell that right away.
Yeah.
And
my,
all alone? Have you sung these alone?
Mhm. My third solo CD was called Too Marvelous for Words, the songs of Johnny Mercer.
Those are great. Were those Broadway? Some Broadway songs?
All Johnny Mercer. So Moon River, That All Black Magic, Shining Hour. And that was recorded live. It was my first live recording, and we did it at what was the Cinegrill at the Hollywood Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That was a great spot.
Yeah.
In fact, Betsy Fayella
I know, I
was
saw
there,
her.
and that's where I
I
saw
was
it
there.
too. Were you there too?
Yeah.
That was a great little room, wasn't it?
Because I released her CD on my record label.
Tell us a little bit about her, Betsy.
Well-
she's a soprano. No,
I
she's
think
not
she's probably
really
more
mezzo.
of a mezzo. But what she did was so brilliant because she took the songs of Frank Sinatra and really revisited them as a woman. And the CD was called Can I Be Frank? And I just thought it was everything from the packaging to the arrangements. Vocally, she sounded great. It was really something. I love that recording.
Yeah, good. That's why you took it on.
Yeah.
And what else? Then you had a...
Well, the biggest recording that I ever did 5 years ago to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of my record label was called In Good Company. And it was a collection of 17 newly recorded duets. And I got to record with amazing people, Maureen McGovern and Michael Feinstein and Ken Page and Stephen Schwartz and Susan Egan, Amanda McBroom. It was just heaven, just heaven.
So did you pick the songs?
I did.
And then did you get the person to sing them with you?
I did.
And was it easy to get all those people to sing with you?
It was. It was easier than I thought.
I love Ken Page. I've had him on
He's
the show.
great.
He's a wonderful. He was like the first time I saw him on Broadway was in Cats. I mean, he's terrific. And many of those people have been on the Joan Quinn profiles because they're such great stars.
Yeah. That was a great project. I thought if I'm going to do another album, I would like for it to sell more than my last album.
Oh, right.
And so I
see.
thought
what
one
a
way to do that would be to invite people that are bigger names than I,
Fantastic.
which was not hard.
No, but you had already done stage work with Linda Pearl.
Yes.
And
yes.
she's fantastic too.
Have you had her on?
I've had her on.
I love
yes.
Linda. I love Linda.
But you're going to be on stage with Amanda McBroom, who
I
was
am.
also on that
Yes.
CD, right?
She actually allowed us to record a duet of the song she wrote, The Rose.
Oh,
Which
we
I don't
forget
think
she wrote
yes.
that.
And we recorded it like as a love duet. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to Chanteur because we have a
Yes.
French little taste here too.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I have been working on a concert called Chanteur, which is an homage to the great French songbook. And really what the concert is about is the influence that these songs have had on the American singer. For instance, Frank Sinatra had great success with Charles Aznavour songs.
Oh, did he use those?
Yeah. And Charles Aznavour in France, he's called the Sinatra of France.
I know. I didn't realize that's what happened.
Yeah.
That Sinatra was singing Aznavour. He'd written them or he'd sung them?
Aznavour had written the songs.
Oh, he'd written them.
And so there's that connection. There's the comparison of, Judy Garland being the Edith Piaf of America.
Right.
There's that connection.
Did you use the Piaf songs too?
Mm-hmm.
You did. What?
Yeah.
And Jacques Brel, I know.
Jacques Brel is fantastic. I mean, what I loved learning about this songbook is that so many French songwriters started out as poets, and so these songs, like every song, is a one-act play.
Oh, that's great.
It was really. It was really great. And my good friend Brian Lane Green, I have to credit him because I called him and I said, I need a new show. I have no idea what to do.
Did you take this out too?
Oh yeah.
Show you did?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so
we
you
premiered
went alone?
We premiered it in London and in Paris last summer.
Oh. And where? And what kind?
Well, in London we were at Pizza on the Park, which was like the premier jazz cabaret supper club. It's closed now. But we were one of the
cabaret
last
places.
Mm-hmm. In Paris, we were at a wonderful theater called Les Sentiers des Halles, which was about a 150-seat theater.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Nice little stage.
Yeah.
Great.
Really,
very intimate.
Yeah.
Especially for these French songs. How did they take that?
Well, I was worried
Yeah.
that primarily this show is sung in English.
But still.
I do a couple in French, but they loved it because these are the melodies they are so familiar with.
They know all this music.
But they loved hearing how I interpreted them. So it was good. It went really well. But Brian Green came up with the idea. And he directed it and conceived it. And
he knows you and he sung with you. And so that's the thing. Well, before we leave, let's go back to the Ford Theater with Amanda McBroom. What are you going to be putting on that program?
Well, Amanda and I joined forces because I distribute her recording, which is Chanson. It's all the music of Jacques Brel.
It's an LML.
Music, that's right. And my new recording, Chanteur, is all the French songbook. And so we've put together an evening together called Chansons d'amour, Songs of Love.
God.
And we are premiering it at the John Anson Ford Amphitheater on Friday, October 7th.
And will
so
there
excited.
be other people involved? Or just the two
Just
of you?
musicians.
Is there an orchestra?
There's not an orchestra, but it's, I think, about 6 or 7 musicians.
I see. And then do you have to rehearse a lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you wear on stage?
I haven't thought about that yet.
What would do you coordinate, or what do you do about something like that?
Well, I probably won't coordinate with Amanda because I'll probably wear black and it goes with everything, but yeah.
And where do you rehearse if you have to? You can't go on the Ford stage, can you?
Not until the day of, so we'll rehearse at a studio.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. You go the day of?
The day of.
And then how do you do all the sound checks and everything?
That day.
Oh, I don't think show business is so glamorous. It's not so glamorous, is it?
Not always.
No.
Not always.
But you really brought some interesting facts to us today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot. And don't go away. We'll be right back with Joe Regalbuto. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with actor Joe Regalbuto, who was born and raised in New York, and you've seen him on TV. He made his debut on Mork and Mindy. He's worked with Martin Short and Tim Conway, made TV commercials, and he's still remembered for that role on CBS's Murphy Brown. Not only did he play Frank Fontana, but as Joe Regalbuto, he directed more than 20 episodes, 24 episodes.
It was a great start in directing.
How did you even think about directing?
I always had it in the back of my mind, but I was one of the lucky ones that no one else in the cast wanted to do it. Usually, in a comedy cast or
is that right?
whatever, you have nobody else wanted to direct, so it was like, I'll do it. And
is that right? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
I would think everyone will, no, I can
Normally
do it.
it is. Normally everybody wants to, but these guys just wanted to act, leave me alone, and it was terrific because it would start out with a couple per season. Then it got to the point where I was doing 7 or 8.
Acting too.
And acting,
And who was writing?
And we had our staff. Yeah, it started with Diane English, who was the creator of the show, and then there were several staffs over 10 years.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Now I know everyone probably asked you this, but from '88 to '98, 10 years.
Unbelievable.
Did this help your career or hinder your career?
Well, absolutely helped. I mean, it's a life-changing experience. Part of the problem always, whenever you're in a series, whatever you're doing, generally, I think the powers that be very often will say, well, he does that. He's a comedy actor.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you do?
You know, you sort of fight it the best you can. You take the parts that are offered you, and gradually people begin to see, oh, he can do other things. And
during that time, during that 10 years, you have to be doing other things. You have time, don't you?
You have time. The truth is, we worked extremely hard 8 months of the year.
Oh, that's a long time then.
8 months out of the year, and our Murphy Brown was very dialogue driven and fast. You know, it was kind of the front page kind of feeling in the newsroom. We wanted to keep a good pace going. So
no ad lib?
Oh no.
No.
Oh no,
scripted.
we had some writers who didn't particularly care for our ad libs, but
but you probably, did you start doing it because you were together?
You know what
for
happens?
So long?
I have to say, as a group, we were extremely focused on what was written.
Oh.
Our writers were very good, so we didn't feel a need all the time to go jump off and do our own stuff. Occasionally, we'd come up with something, and they might leave it in, but generally, we really went by the book, and that's how it was. I just noticed how white my legs are. Holy smoke. But anyway, that's another story.
Okay, Santa Monica.
100 degrees out there.
You haven't been in the beach yet. Did you come from a show business family?
Oh, no, not at all. No.
Well, how'd you get into acting?
Well, you know, you make some wrong decisions along the way.
That was it? No.
I always loved it. I think it was in high school, it was the first thing I saw that, hey, I could do pretty good. You know, I would get involved in a couple of the plays or something. Didn't speak too much of it then. Your friends, you don't want your friends teasing you. Oh, you're gonna.
That was in New York, right?
In Jersey, actually.
In Jersey,
yeah. I'm a tri-state guy. And, but I gradually got into it and went to school and found out this is what I can really devote myself to without looking at the clock. I loved it. And
did you go to university?
So I went to NYU.
Oh, and then
Arts.
Oh, you did. So
Yeah,
you started picking it up then by college.
Yes, exactly. I also previously went to another acting school called the American Academy of Dramatic Art.
Oh, that's great.
That was the first thing I did.
Yeah.
And my father, you know, he said, if you want to be an actor, I'm not going to give you 1 red cent. I mean, he was against it.
Yeah.
And for good reasons. You know, nobody makes it as an actor.
Well, but when you make it as an actor, you manage.
When you make it as an actor, it's a terrific thing. But I understand now the odds are against you. It's such a tough battle. And
it's but it's so hard. The work is so hard, and the rejection is so hard.
Oh, Lord, I think that's what he was trying to protect me from.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that's what happens with parents.
Yeah.
Well, then, did you go on to take acting classes? Or
pretty much after NYU, I had some terrific teachers, including Olympia Dukakis, who was one of my teachers, and Peter Cass, who's just passed away, a wonderful, wonderful acting teacher. I had enough training, I thought. I have gone back. I always review. I'll always read about this stuff. I've even I audited Larry Moss's class.
Oh, you do?
You know, I did this recently, just kind of get the juices going again.
What about
never
teaching?
stop learning.
Did you teach?
I've taught a little bit.
Yeah.
I taught at UCLA Extension. I taught for several years, and that's something that's I've always, when I direct, I think it's part of me too. You know, you sort of have to be a lot of things when you're a director, and teacher is one of them too.
Maybe that's why sometimes people don't want to direct, because you have to know what every character is about, right?
You really have to know what's going on. The positive thing about directing, though, is you really get to root for all the actors. I think sometimes as another actor, you know, especially with guys, there's always maybe a little competitiveness here and there. Am I as good as that guy? Am I better than that guy? When you're directing, you're wishing everybody hits a home run.
Oh, because you want to look great.
Well, you know, sure, blame it on me. You want to look good, but you
don't
also...
you, the director?
Listen, if they're doing great, if they're achieving
right.
what they want, it's good for you.
Yeah.
So,
so we were talking about the comedy part. What other types of roles did you play on TV?
Oh my God, I've been killed many times on television, in TV movies. You know, I've done a wide variety of stuff. Obviously, Murphy Brown was on for 10 years, so that's what is locked in very often. But I wasn't specifically a comedy actor.
Where you
I
played
was an
lawyer
actor.
roles?
Oh, I played lawyers. I played politicians.
Right. I can see you, right.
I've done TV movies for HBO and for Lifetime and for NBC and ABC and CBS, all of them, So, and those are not all comedies.
And you've worked a lot with these beautiful leading ladies like Suzanne Pleshette, Morgan Fairchild, Candy.
Yeah, these things were, the sort of the gifts, the boons that come along along the way, and. I'll tell you, they are gorgeous women and, wonderful actors. And it was a great time. I have to say they were all terrific to me.
You had wonderful roles with them, too.
Wonderful roles. To be Candace's best friend for so long in the series was terrific. With Suzanne Pleshette, it was in The Queen of Mean.
I know, that was so great.
Got to be her confidant, good friend, kind of a conglomeration of a few characters who may have been friendly with her.
And
I don't know how many
person who
remain.
knows everything. You knew everything, right?
That's right.
You
knew the whole
everything.
story, and
it's kind of like that on stage now in A Death in Colombia, because Roxanne Hart is beautiful too.
just a gorgeous, lovely, wonderful actress.
And you are so good when you come and knock at that door.
Oh,
We go
thank
like,
you.
who is this guy?
I'm so pleased. It's a very different role for me, or at least what you might expect to see. And he's got a couple of coats that he wears, so to speak. And it's a difficult play to talk about because if you speak specifically about anything, you give away a lot.
Oh, can we tell a little bit about the
Sure,
story?
sure.
You tell us a little bit. And
well,
who wrote it?
Shem Bitterman is the playwright, and Steve Zuckerman directed the play, who I also knew from. He directed several episodes of Murphy Brown.
Oh, so he'd been with you
and
before.
he directed another play I did that Gary Marshall wrote called Everybody Say Cheese. This was a couple of years ago.
Oh.
So we have a lot of history. But this was terrific. They called, said, read this play. I read it, and I called back and said, wow, it's a terrific part. I'm not quite sure what it's about.
But had Shem been to Colombia?
Shem has been everywhere.
Oh, he has. I see.
Yes,
okay.
he has been.
Okay.
And I would say this play is a lot about choice, the choice people have to make. The choices in this play happen to be life and death choices. This character that I play has made his choice, and he's now coming and he wants Roxanne's character to make a very difficult choice.
Oh, that's right. We can't tell who you are, can we?
No,
really?
I think if we do, it really sort of gives it away.
That's right.
The nice thing about the play is you can hear the audience. You can
that's what I was going to ask you. Because I was like sitting in the front row. And
it was you, wasn't it?
when you did something, the whole audience goes, do you
know
hear
what?
it?
I tell you, it's very gratifying. Because
it is.
I have to say, working on the play was very difficult. There's a lot in there. For my character, there are tons of transitions and moves and changes of direction. And when you hear the audience responding, it just lets you know they're right there. And there are a number of those along the way.
There are a lot of those. What about the costuming? Does that help?
The costuming is pretty straightforward. I don't think by seeing what this guy is wearing, you'd guess one way or another.
No,
what he is, who he is, why he's there. He's sort of a stranger at the door, a gentleman caller of kinds, and it unravels bit by bit.
And what about the set? Does that make you act a certain way?
I think wherever you are, you always have to put yourself in the place. Places, actors very early on in their career, when you're working on a part, who, what, where,
Because you
when.
walk around, you look at things, you pick things up.
You kind of discover what's going
Yeah.
on. You make certain spaces your own, even though he's entering into a foreign place. He slowly kind of makes it his a bit. So there's a tremendous dynamic between my character and Roxanne's character.
And how did that casting take place?
Well,
you knew the director.
They gave me a call and said, we have Roxanne Hart is going to do this. And I went, Roxanne? Did you know we went to school together?
Oh, you did? Where?
Roxanne and I went to NYU.
Oh, you were
together.
Oh, I see.
Many years ago. And
had you been on stage before together?
No, not together. In school, we were kind of a part of a group. She was in the year later than us, 1 year later than me, but we all knew each other so instantly. It was terrific, and strangely enough, after all these years, our language is the same. We approach
you approached it the same way.
And
so it's like 3 people.
It's 3 people, and it's about I'd say about an 85 minutes.
A little bit longer.
Just straight through. And
have you been that kind of a character before? Have you?
I have played some. What's the right word? I've played some interesting characters in the past.
Interesting. We can't. You know,
I know. I don't know where.
I was shocked, and I wasn't so shocked really because I could tell your arrogance when you walked in. You had this arrogance about you, and you tried to hide it.
Right.
You were hiding it, but
I
knew exactly what you were. I had just been to Colombia.
No kidding.
A few months ago.
Was it a safe trip? Everything was good?
Safe, yeah, but you're in Medellin, and you're in Bogota, Cartagena, and you hear about all these things.
Yes.
But once I saw the play, I went, oh my gosh, why did I ever go there?
Oh, I know, you're a brave woman. I'm thinking that to myself. I didn't know much about the whole the event of the play. I didn't know about these things, or if I suspected. Does that really? Those things really happen?
Is it really true? And it really is true.
They do. They do happen.
It's very physical. Are you trained, or how did you make those physical moves? Because they are very physical, and we feel them in the audience.
Oh, that's great. Well, we had and this is terrible, I'm blanking on his name, but we did have a physical expert coming, a guy who a martial arts kind of guy who could show us things and how to do stage combat and so forth and so on, which was helpful because nobody wants to get hurt when there is the physical stuff.
Yeah. But you make it look like you really crack, doing things.
That's great. That's great.
So
you can't say another word about
cracking. I won't. So somebody comes in and trains you.
The director will get it into a place. We'll get what we want to do, and then we'll have an expert say, "This is the way to do it without killing each other."
Are you going to do more stage?
I love it. I try to do it whenever I have some time. I've been very fortunate. Like I guess maybe 6 or 7 years back, I got to work with John Larroquette. On The Odd Couple, and Neil Simon was there the whole time.
Oh, that was good.
It was sort of a new version, so he was rewriting up to the end, and that was a joyous experience. So that was
really interesting for you too, getting the rewrites and
to be there with a legend like that was truly something. And John and I had the title role. It was kind of an updated version.
Where was it?
That Neil was at the Geffen.
Oh, it was at the Geffen in Westwood.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. Also, you were on stage with Rex Smith. Do you sing? Do you dance?
I was not on stage with Rex, but I did a series.
Oh, is that?
In the mid-'80s, it was called Street Hawk. And it was a sort of a super duper motorcycle. I played kind of the genius scientist who built the thing. And of course, Rex was the stud who got all the girls. But that's
he
how
was
it works.
So great because he sings, of course.
Oh, I know that, yeah.
And he's been on the Joan Quinn Profiles. We've had him on.
He's a terrific singer. I just saw him recently because I think there was a European company that bought Street Hawk.
Oh, is that right?
They bought the 13 to distribute
just what
in
you
Europe.
were talking about? Oh, that's great.
And that was a fun thing because I would go to be on vacation in Europe. And you know how popular motorcycles are over there. People would come up to me. The show was just sort of 13 and out here. But in Europe, they kept playing it.
Over in
Tangerine Dream did the music, so it was a very cool show. I actually have my picture on a lunchbox, which not too many actors can see.
No, that's very good. That means you're very popular, and you're popular with us. Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're sweet. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thanks for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles today. Email JAQUINN1@AOL.com. See you next time.